Macpherson. In the number 4 position, making her 13th telecast this season, reigning Rookie of the Year, Cara Honeychurch. Qualifying 3rd, the leader in all categories for 2001, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. In the number 2 position, seeking her first career title, rookie Kelly Kulick. And in the top spot, going for her 8th career victory, Dede Davidson. Working with me again, Cathy Dorin-Lizzi. And Cathy, let's get right to the top seed, Dede Davidson. She's been having a roller coaster year.
Well, last year was a great year for Dede, winning 2 titles, becoming the 4th woman to capture the Triple Crown. This year, very inconsistent and very disappointed in her performance. She said to me during the week, "I just want to have more fun while I bowl." Fun was exactly what she had, never dropping lower than 4th and taking command of this tournament after the first round of match play, never looking back.
Well, another lady having some fun this week and all year would be our number 2 seed, Kelly Kulick. An awesome rookie season, but she hasn't met her goals yet.
Well, Kelly dreamed of making 5 TV shows this year, and tonight we're seeing her for the 7th time, but no title. Is she disappointed? Absolutely. But Kelly has learned to focus on the process and not so much the outcome. Eventually, this rookie will definitely be victorious.
Well, our number 3 seed, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, I think victorious is her middle name. And Cathy, what else can we say about her?
Absolutely nothing, Jan, so let's move along.
Well, there must be something we can say. Does 17 mean anything to you?
Well, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard has become a household name on the PWBA tour. Last week, breaking the record for most TV appearances in one season, continuing that streak tonight with 17 shows. But that isn't enough for Carolyn, as usual. With a win tonight, she can tie the most pro titles in one season with 7. If I know Carolyn, she'll probably wind up doing that too.
Well, I bet she's ready to go, and so are we. She'll be joined by Honeychurch and Macpherson. And they're ready for some high fives, and Carolyn Dorin-Ballard will be the one starting this match. Cathy, she wants to do it all, doesn't she?
Absolutely.
But who doesn't, right? You'd like to do it all, right?
Of course. I plan on it. I think when the day comes when you don't want to do it, it's time to go home, have a couple kids.
Definitely not the opening shot she wanted. Did you get a chance to watch them in practice as Cara Honeychurch steps up? Cathy, did you get any look at all?
I really didn't, unfortunately. But maybe Carolyn's getting those shots out of the way early, because normally those things haunt her later on in the game.
It's okay. We didn't want to see that 7-pin stand, so in the pocket, though, and that was one of Cara's things all week, trying to carry out the 7-pin.
Yeah, she didn't have very good carry. Mostly on Wednesday, she wasn't sure if she should change her line or just stick it out. She chose to stick it out, which is the smart thing to do, like we've been saying all year on the court condition. 9 spare is a good frame when the conditions are very tough. This week they were.
209 average for Cara during this weekend, just hangs on to cover that spare. Meanwhile, you saw Carolyn take 2 out of the 3 on that 2-4-10. Important to get the wood. And Wendy Macpherson, our reigning bowler of the year, bowler of the decade, in fact.
Millionaire. Shall we go on?
She's already done it all.
Oh, these girls, I'll tell you.
A little bit light.
Wendy said this week it was very important to be crisp with your shot making. And it was true. The conditioner was a lot longer. We went 40 feet this week. We have 22 feet of Guardian, which tends to make the balls roll different. And she was absolutely right. You had to be on your game this week. Great shot by Carolyn.
Yeah, came back strong. Wendy qualifying 5th with the 204 average. That was actually the 8th highest average this week. But because she won 17 matches and tied 1, she was able to make the shot.
Bonus pins are very important.
In case you aren't familiar with our format, after a cut, 18 games of qualifying, then they cut to the top 24. 24 games of head-to-head match play, 30 bonus pins for every win, 15 pins apiece for a tie. Honeychurch and Macpherson in the lead. Dorin-Ballard trailing by 11 because of that split in the first frame, and 13th TV appearance for Cara. Cathy, do you realize that prior to last year, 13 TV appearances would have been a record for a season before Wendy came up with 15 last year.
These ladies are doing the remarkable thing in bowling. I don't even know if they understand what they're doing. I remember back in '94, Anne Marie Dugan made 11 out of 22. That was unheard of. Now you have 5, 6 girls doing it every week.
Well, these three ladies, 39 appearances between the three of them so far this year. And big break there for Wendy Macpherson, knocking out the 10. Cara with some double. Picks
it up, no problem. Good spare shooter there.
And Wendy again on a single pin spare. Covers it up, and after a short break, the PWBA will head to Laughlin, Nevada for the 2001 Women's U.S. Open Bowling Championship presented by Riverside Resort. It runs November 30th through December 9th. We hope to come out and vacation there while watching women compete for their largest purse in history. And Scratch Women Bowlers, it's a must bowl. Stay with us. We'll have more details later in the show. Look at the score right now. Macpherson in the lead by 1 pin. Tied with Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, actually both in the lead over Cara Honeychurch. The championship round finals of the Las Cruces New Mexico Open are being brought to you by the Women's International Bowling Congress, striving for 86 years to identify and fulfill the needs of women bowlers. By Travelodge Hotels, first with families, relax with Travelodge. And by PWBA.com, the official site for news and information about the Professional Women's Bowling Association. While we were away, the carry monkey score on the back of Honeychurch and Macpherson. Cara Honeychurch leaving 2 7 pins. A messenger couldn't even knock it out in the 6th. Wendy Macpherson solid 8 and a 10 pin. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, animals don't like her. No monkey on her back. She's been perfect since that first frame. So she leads by 33 pins. Karen will be stepping up in the 8th frame with 6 consecutive strikes, trying to make it 7 in a row. That's what we've been seeing, but some of them solid, some of them light. It doesn't seem to matter. Her carry phenomenal right now.
And she's probably gotten a little looser since the first frame, maybe a little tight to start.
Now, Cara Honeychurch decided she was tired of not carrying, made a switch, Kathy.
She switched balls in the 7th frame and buried it.
She actually carried one. And that's what we saw earlier, and it didn't kick out the 7th, so a good ball change for Cara Honeychurch. Wendy Macpherson doubled in the 6th and 7th after 5 straight 9 counts.
A stone 9, a stone 8.
But it looks like they've all found the secret to carry now. As we're in the 8th frame, but Carolyn Dorin-Ballard continues to lead by 33 pins. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard actually made some picks on some football games a couple of weeks ago. She was victorious. It was in Pittsburgh. That was actually the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. Wendy was also involved in those picks, and Carolyn Dorin-Ballard showed us that she's an athlete and follows sports all the way around. Beat those sports writers out in those picks.
That was a little bit of an erred shot on Carolyn's part, leaving a hit pin spare, but that was very common all week. Another great shot by Cara. Carolyn a little too aggressive at the release. He didn't have a lot of room to throw it to the right, and there she proved it. Not a very good shot, but spareable.
She'll need to convert this. She still has a possible 255 game going here. So that's really important to stay on top.
Very important, and I got to tell you, if you're leaving a head pin spare, it's obviously not an easy spare to make, or else you wouldn't have left it.
That's right. There you see 255 possible, as I mentioned, for Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, 236 for Honeychurch, and a possible 246 for Macpherson.
Sparing very crucial this week. The scores were low, the cut was low. If you could find a way just to get to the pocket and save yourself with spares, you would have made the cut very easily this week.
So both ladies taking a little time here, a little bit of feeling grip problems, drying their hands. Carolyn working with some tape or something with the grip in her bowling ball, and Wendy drying her hand off a little more. 138, look at that, a low game this week, so you could get in a lot of trouble if you missed the spares or left a lot of splits, obviously.
She obviously didn't do that too often. She qualified 5th, came back from that week.
So Carolyn Dorin-Ballard now up in the 10th frame. She can close this match out.
Good shot, leaves a 4-pin. A little high, but spareable.
So she'll need to spare this up to secure this match. That being Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. Wendy Macpherson spares up in the 9th. So the best Wendy Macpherson could shoot would be 225. Cara Honeychurch could still shoot 236, so a spare here and 3 pins will lock it up for Carolyn Dorin-Ballard.
No problem.
Interesting note on Cara. These actually very, well, she wants to strike out, but really you have to figure Carolyn will get 3 pins. But Cara talked about the difficulty she's been having with her timing. It was an interesting comment she made about because you bowl so many games out here, if one little thing goes wrong, it gets embedded in your memory, your muscle memory very quickly.
It's very hard to get rid of bad habits when all you're doing is constantly bowling. These ladies make the cut every week. They're bowling 60, 70 games a week plus practice. Sometimes you need a break in order to get rid of your bad habit. You don't have time for a break.
So she needs 3 pins, and she has plenty there. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard will advance. But first, when we come back, a glimpse of future WIBC Hall of Famers. One of the greatest accolades a women bowler can receive is election into the Women's International Bowling Congress Hall of Fame. 3 outstanding women, 2 of which are longtime PWBA members, will be inducted during the WIBC annual meeting in April of 2002. The Meritorious Service inductee will be Nancy Chapman, who has served the WIBC for more than 33 years at various levels, including Director and Vice President. She has also won many awards for her dedication to WIBC and bowling, including the National Women Bowling Writers Joe, Eddie, and Lieber Award for Distinguished Service to the sport. Cheryl Daniels has been a member of the PWBA for more than 20 years and has 10 titles to her credit. She was the runner-up Player of the Year in 1989 and is a member of both the Detroit and Michigan WBA Halls of Fame, making her a worthy entrant into the Superior Performance category. Joining Daniels as a Hall of Fame inductee for Superior Performance will be one of the PWBA's all-time fan favorites, Tish Johnson. A 3-time PWBA Bowler of the Year, Johnson became the 3rd PWBA member to reach the $1 million mark in career earnings. She owns 24 PWBA titles and holds the record for consecutive tournaments bowled with 217. Congratulations to all 3 ladies on being chosen for this incredible honor, and thank you for continuing to be the example of dedication and success. For our final score in match 1, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard 243 to Honeychurch's 213 and Macpherson's 214. So Dorin-Ballard will continue to face rookie Kelly Kulick right after this. Las Cruces, a caravan of travelers was ambushed. The graves were marked and crosses. Subsequent travelers referred to the site as La Placita de Las Cruces, the place of the crosses. Crosses were laid on the gravesite, and that's how Las Cruces received its name. Kelly Kulick now up in the semifinal match.
Beautiful opening shot.
Exactly. I tell you what, we've said it every week she's been on the show, but this lady does not look like a rookie.
Well, she just has an awesome physical ability. Very athletic, very strong young lady, and it shows. And yet she's so smooth.
Carolyn Dorin-Ballard off of a very good opening match, 243.
You know, now they showed the side view of her there for a minute, and to me it looked like her feet were very fast. And that could be. She needs to get it just a little bit more to the right earlier. Jumps and goes a little high. Or bad break gets a split.
Her feet getting fast, or one of the things she talked about, she had trouble slowing down this week.
Yes.
Oh. Gave that one a run.
On Monday, she was nice and slow. She could get the ball into a roll. She bowled great. She said when Tuesday came and Wednesday morning, she couldn't slow herself down enough. So it's funny, day to day, fatigue, all those little factors come into play. The shot gets a little different.
And she said that was her weakness, mental focus and concentration, and that was part of it, trying to get herself to slow down, and she just couldn't do it.
And her strength, though, was changing lines. So if the lanes are going to start to break down a little bit, I wouldn't be surprised if she moved a bit.
As usual, come back with a great shot to follow up that open frame. Don't forget she started that first game with an open frame also, that 243 game.
And that just set her off, didn't it?
It sure did. You should know something about setting off, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. You've probably done it once or twice in your lifetime.
Maybe just once or twice. I think I could remember a time here and there.
Kelly Kulick starting with a strike here and follows with another. She gave us advice about those considering coming out on tour.
You know, there's so many things I could say, you know, to give advice, but most importantly, just to be open-minded, determined, know that you really want to do it and you want to try, and just to come out because it's a great experience and you have fun no matter what happens. But most importantly, just to come out and try, because you really have to try before you know what's going to happen.
And she's definitely trying, and she likes what's happening. 7th TV appearance in a rookie season. Cara Honeychurch last year with 9 TV appearances in a rookie season. Light, so neither player will be able to shoot that 300 tonight and collect that Travelodge Hotel's $50,000 bonus for a perfect game. Maybe in the championship match.
We see Kelly's TV appearances. I'm sorry, everyone's TV appearances. Carolyn 17, Cara 13, Wendy 9, Kelly 7, Dede 4. I mean, unbelievable.
Those are the 50 I mentioned at the top of the show, and these
That's
ladies,
a hefty 50.
Yeah, it sure is. They're comfortable on TV, or should be by now.
I think the audience is getting comfortable watching them every week.
All even right now. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard has been happy with her TV performance. You know, at least this swing, she's done very well. While she's won just the one title this swing, she averaged 211.9 for TV during this entire swing, and the low game of 182. That's pretty good.
That's exceptionally good. She did say, though, last week on the show she should have adjusted to the carry down a little quicker, but she felt overall she bowled very well. But as we know, I hate to say it, but she does always leave that dreaded 7-10. I know. Oh. Don't look at me like that. Oh. I know. I shouldn't have said it, but I had to.
Oh, my. Okay, cover that 7-10. And you better get all 10 of these, Carolyn.
Carolyn would like to say hi to Dell Sr., her father-in-law, and Francis, and her sympathies go out to Carol Hazlitt and family for the loss of her mother. So we're sorry about that.
Carolyn trails now by 20 pins. Steps up in the 4th frame. She's working on a spare. Struck last time on this lane.
Oh, that was a great shot. That was beautiful. That was crisp. Exactly what Wendy said. You had to be very crisp this week. Tougher the conditions are, the better, the more on top of your game you better be, or else.
Kelly talked about her advice to young players coming out. She also said that it was college bowling that prepared her for this, for tour life, and that's where you should be. If you're in college and you bowl, hey, get involved in the bowling program.
If you have the opportunity, you might as well do it. It's a smart move.
where we have the Brunswick Women's World Open and the shootout coming up. The top 8 will make the shootout. As you can see, Kelly Kulick right now in 9th position. She'll finish either first, second, or third tonight, so she'll either remain in 9th or she can move up to 8th position if she finishes second or better with one event left, Brunswick Women's World Open. So it's going to be a tight race, those top 8 positions.
The claws are going to be out for those top 8 positions. Oh my God.
Ouch, that one hurts.
Boy, I'll tell you, she looks flawless out there so far. Beautiful style, gets it off her hand, just crisp, clean. Gets it out to the right, and you can see how it boomerangs back. Stone 9. Great shot.
So she will attempt to shoot the spare and keep it clean. So right now we are all even in the semifinal match of the Las Cruces New Mexico Open. We'll be back with you in just a moment. Monday night, October 15th, the Women's Sports Foundation held their annual Salute to Women in Sports dinner at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City. I was fortunate enough to fill in for Robin Massanti, representing the sport of bowling at this gala event that was attended by many of the top female athletes from all over the world. A celebrity auction was held to raise money for the WSF, which included bowling balls signed by myself and Robin. The event, which was also attended by PWBA President John Falzone and WIBC First Vice President Elaine Hagan, was capped off by the announcement of the Sports Women of the Year. This year's team award went to basketball star Lisa Leslie. While pole vaulter extraordinaire Stacy Dragila took the individual honors. The night was a rousing success and a testament to the power and resolve of women's athletics throughout the world. And this lady, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, was nominated for that individual Sportswoman of the Year. She did not win, but in our eyes, she probably should have or was equally as good as many of the other women who were nominated for that category.
Oh, my God, that's 7-pin foul.
You're lucky it was not a 7-10.
That was a nice shot off her hand. You see both the 7 and the 10 getting ready to go, but the 10's still wobbling. Easy spare for Carolyn.
Kelly Kulick will now be in the lead by 20 because Carolyn did not strike. We were all even while we were away, both players alternating with spares and strikes. I made mention that Carolyn animals maybe didn't like her earlier, but I don't know, a spider was crawling at her in the 6th frame when she struck her. Is that considered an animal? Nah, I guess not.
I would have squashed it.
Tournament director Wyatt Slaughter had to go out on the approach and take a spider off while we were gone.
With my opponent's shoe, of course.
63 TV appearances, of course, 17 of them this season.
214 average. That's a great TV average.
Carolyn having no problem striking on lane 25. 4 straight strikes this match, and no strikes for her on lane 26 this match. Meanwhile, Kelly Kulick is striking every time on lane 26.
And using every inch of 26. Not a very good match play, 13 and 11, which means this lady bowled some outstanding games.
If that pin did not go down, Kelly Kulick was walking down and knocking it down, I believe.
Same shot as before. Really getting it out to the right. Has such a nice shot to the pocket. Almost leaves a stone 9. She'd like that, yes. 3 times.
You better be down. And again, lane 26. She's only had 1 strike on lane 25. It was the first frame.
Taking a deep breath there, you see, before she starts.
Definitely not her favorite lane. 6, 7, 10.
Here you see, she didn't quite get it out as far as she's been. And once you don't, it catches early, and that's the result. Although this is sparable. She finished second in the WIBC Queens back in May, too, none other than
Carolyn
Dorin-Ballard.
Yeah, this match right here. Kelly Kulick's done very well in the major. She was second in the U.S. Open also to Tennille Grijalva. So Carolyn Dorin-Ballard just took the lead while sitting on the bench. That's assuming she continues to strike here. She's working on a strike in the 8th and has to find out a way to strike just one time on lane 26.
She doesn't look it, but she's nervous.
Come on.
Oh my God.
You have got to be kidding me. Same thing we've seen several times. Wendy Macpherson, Kelly Kulick, solid 9s.
But this one she did get in a little. She too didn't get it out to the right as far as she's been. Still a great shot. Could have went for any of the girls. A little disappointed there. But it held. So she might have been a little lucky just leaving the 9-pin.
Spares it up, and we will have a 4-pin match. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard will trail by 4 pins, and she'll finish first. So basically, Kelly Kulick will have to match what Carolyn does. Carolyn defeated Kelly earlier in the week.
And Kelly not getting any on that split. She probably didn't mean to throw it in the gutter, obviously.
Oh, I'm sure she didn't.
As you've seen week to week, the shows are always coming down to the last frame, so wood is important on splits.
Carolyn Dorin-Ballard's career record on TV against Kelly Kulick, 3-0.
That was nice.
She got one. If she doubles here, she'll force Kelly Kulick to double. And then we'll be looking at pin count. Carolyn talked about that she bowled well this week, but not the best that she's ever bowled. Again, the nerves thing, an issue with her all week.
She said a lot of that is just mental and physical fatigue. And people need to understand also, it's just as mentally and physically grueling to be on top as it is to get there.
Oh, big shot. Oh, wow. She gets the big trip of the 7-pin.
Coming up a little light. This one she definitely gave room. Threw it a little harder, I believe, coming up a little light. Taps it right out. Look at her leaning over. She wants that out of there. She wants to duke it out with the 7-pin.
I think so, and so she remains perfect on lane 25 this match. If she strikes here, it'll be a score of 198. Kelly Kulick would need 2 strikes and 7 pins.
Yeah, no doubt about that one. Huge 10th frame.
Big finish, so the rookie now has the weight on her shoulders and will have to finish this match. It was her choice who would start and who would finish last. 2 strikes and 7 pins is what she needs.
And she is on her better lane. She definitely trusted it.
Not the shot she wanted to have happen, so Carolyn Dorin-Ballard hangs on to win the semifinal. We'll return with info on entering the U.S. Open and a recap of tonight's matches. Presented and hosted by Don Laughlin's Riverside Resort Hotel and Casino in Laughlin, Nevada. We'll begin with Pro-Ams November 30th and December 1st. U.S. Open competition begins December 2nd and concludes with a live broadcast on ESPN Sunday, December 9th at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Immediately following the men's U.S. Open final. It's $300,000 up for grabs. For tournament entry info, contact the PWBA at 815-332-5756 or visit pwba.com. And there's still time to enter the Pro-Ams. Call Riverside at 800-227-3849 or visit riversideresort.com. So far tonight in match 1, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard managed to string 7 strikes to better Honeychurch and Macpherson, 243 to 213 and 214. In match 2, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard showed why she's ranked number 1, striking out in the 10th to defeat Kulick 198 to 192. Coming up next, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard challenges top seed Dede Davidson for the Las Cruces, New Mexico Open title. History, Sheriff Pat Garrett caught and tried the region's notorious outlaw, Billy the Kid. And we're inside Sun Lanes in Las Cruces, New Mexico for the championship round of the Las Cruces, New Mexico Open. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard and Dede Davidson will duke it out. They'd both like to take a couple prisoners here. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard successfully climbing the ladder, exact opposite of what we saw in Fort Worth, Kathy, when Dede climbed the ladder to face Carolyn.
Carolyn, of course, being victorious there.
As the top seed position has been most of this season. Oh, and as she started, yeah, amazing.
But it turns out for the better, so I wouldn't think she plans it that way.
I would hope not.
No. As we're saying, maybe we're seeing a little transition. The lanes may be breaking down. Didn't look like too bad of a shot, but obviously she kept it in a little. Left the big 4, but she'll get the 2. Very important. Okay, so she's got the first one out of her system.
Done. She just chooses to bowl 9 frames. Dede Davidson, 34 years old, on tour 17 years.
Our latest Triple Crown winner.
Dede always tough in the majors. Out of 7 titles, 3 of them majors. That's pretty impressive.
Every year, a factor at every major.
Oh, and that was a really bad break.
And she did the opposite, came up a little light. Ball never looked like it really finished. You can see it made a late charge to the pocket. Leaves a light 7-9. Normally you see that high in the pocket. She'll get 1.
Taking aim at her 7-pin, probably just trying to get comfortable shooting those corner pins. And right now, just a 1-pin match. Dede Davidson, I believe, calling for a re-rack on lane 25, not liking what she sees, it would appear. As I see it cycle, and some of the other ladies that did not make the show. Kim Adler was the defending champ here. She just missed out. Carol Giannotti Block from Australia. She had the 5th highest average, but only an 11 and 13 match play record.
And our number 11 qualifier, Anne-Marie Dugan, would love for you to join her at her website, bowlingballmall.com. And Leanne Barrett sitting right next to us, keeping score in 13.
Both players an open frame, light again, 3-9 this time.
That ball looks like it's really going long for Dede and not making moves until too far down the lane. That's why she keeps coming up light. She could either go to a stronger ball and stay where she's at, or move a little right and soften up on her speed. Dede does have a lot of power.
Taking that spare. I'm pretty relaxed right now in the second frame, as Carolyn Dorin-Ballard looking pretty intense right now, as she normally does during a show.
Well, for her, is there any other way?
No, I suppose not.
She's definitely not the smiley face on the balloon we see, you know.
At least not during competition.
No.
8th in career earnings, you see that? $767,000. Ways to go to get up, and oh my gosh.
That was a strong messenger fight I ever seen. Well, here you see she comes up a little light, but obviously threw it really, really crisp. Gets the 7, not the 10.
I think the pin in the channel deflected that messenger away from the 10 pin.
Once again, switching to the best big ball to shoot cross lane at the Spirit.
We talked about her intensity. We've also talked about her nerves, but she told you, Cathy, earlier how she feels with those nerves.
Well, actually, whether I'm bowling good or bad, I'm always nervous. I think because I put a little too much pressure on myself, and I expect a lot on myself, and when I don't see results, I get a little disappointed. But actually, it could be a little reverse now. I feel as if when I bowl bad, now everybody notices. It's not, oh, Carolyn's just bowling good. It's like, oh, my God, she's bowling bad. So I don't know if it's just the end of the swing, but I just think I'm putting a little too much pressure on myself, and I bowled a little nervous this week, didn't make as many good shots as I have been, and I paid for it. So I'm a little lucky to be here, but darn glad to be here.
There's her 7-10. She left the 10, now she left the 7.
Okay.
I'm out of danger.
You're off the hook. There you see she leads the PWBA in earnings. She leads in average. She leads in points. She leads in telecast. She leads in titles. Really everything this season. Just as Wendy Macpherson has done several years out of the past 4 years. Past 5 years, really, for Wendy. 4 of the last 5.
Now, those last 2 shots being great shots, just lack of carry. My opinion, I probably wouldn't change anything.
Talk about Dede being a strong player, throws the ball hard. She's one of the few still throwing 16-pound equipment out here on tour.
God bless her.
And she said she has trouble sometimes getting it because the truck doesn't carry around so much 16-pound equipment anymore. All of these now throwing 15.
Dede, as we said, is a very powerful player, has a lot of hand action, and that ball definitely rolled better, made a move, came up a little high though, left the 4-7. Easy spare. Dede also switched to a plastic ball to your spares. She definitely made an adjustment though.
And she talked about she's been actually drilling some 15-pound equipment because of not being able to get the 16. Cathy, do you throw 15?
Absolutely.
Man, it's not really needed with balls today, the heavier weight.
No, not at all. I threw 16 when I first went away to college back in '88. I don't know how I did it then.
I don't know either. You're only about 98 pounds, I think. Dede high again, and she's asking for some help there. Come on, keep falling.
Once again, she made the adjustment because now she's going a little high. She went right through the heart of the head pin, gets a break, and only leaves the 2-4, which is a lot easier to make than what she had before the other 2 pins fell.
So she covers it up, and Carolyn Dorin-Ballard now in the lead. We'll take a quick break. Stay with us. We'll name a champion. 8th frame. She leads by 2 pins right now. She has continued to strike on lane 25, but lane 26 has been a problem. And again, no strike on that lane. Dede Davidson doubled, and then in the 7th frame, stone 8-pin, great shot. Couldn't have thrown it any better. Spared it up. Give you a chance to see that shot. This was Dede in the 7th frame.
As we said before, definitely made the adjustment. Couldn't have thrown that one any better. She got robbed.
She went on, as I said, to spare that up, then struck in the 8th. But because Carolyn Dorin-Ballard did not strike, the lead has again changed. The championship round finals of the Las Cruces New Mexico Open are being brought to you by the Women's International Bowling Congress, striving for 86 years to identify and fulfill the needs of women bowlers. By Travelodge Hotels, first with families, relax with Travelodge. And by PWBA.com, the official site for news and information about the Professional Women's Bowling Association. Thanks to all of our sponsors, and Carolyn Dorin-Ballard backed off the approach. A ball was stuck in the ball return as it was coming up, and she pushed it back. So meanwhile, while she's regrouping, we'll take a look at the other finishers again. Maxine Nabel in Australia, 4 consecutive match play finals for her, and Kelly Rapp, an up-and-coming talent, finishing up in 20th place.
21st, Laura Lee Daniel, having her best season ever. And 24th, a veteran Team USA member, Janet Pazinski from Cheektowaga, New York.
Big shot here in the 9th frame. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard carries the strike to at least give herself an opportunity. Best score she could post if she would strike out in the 10th would be 206. Dede Davidson can still shoot 224, so she leads by 18 pins based on their maximum score.
Carolyn had the highest TV pair average also, 222. Dede with 11.
Oh, and no carry. Again, a good shot.
Almost left the 6-7.
Almost.
So we know 26 is definitely hooking. Really nice shot off her hand. Just jumped a little bit there at the end. You can see the 7-pin just going down. Quite a little bit of a break there just by leaving the 6-pin easy spare for Dede.
So on a spare again, the lead flip-flops because Carolyn Dorin-Ballard has that strike up in the 9th frame.
Dede told us her spare shooting was great this week. She also changed to 5 steps last week. Very impressive for girls to be able to do that in the middle of a swing. You really have to have trust in yourself and in your game. You really have to know your game in order to, number 1, do that, and number 2, know to do it. So, very important.
That's a good point for people at home, too, to make those changes. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard looking down. She doesn't want to see what's going to happen in here. She will have an opportunity to step up and win her 7th tournament of the year. Meanwhile, Dede Davidson looking for her first victory this season.
She wants it bad.
She sure does. She can strike out here for a score of 204. And Carolyn Dorin-Ballard can still strike out for 206. So a big, big shot coming up here on her second shot in the 10th frame.
This is where those pins on splits come into play. 1-2 pin games always comes down to the 10th frame. Doesn't matter how the game starts, it's always a nail biter every week. Mental toughness. That's what you'll see here.
Oh, tough shot for Dede.
She just said, too, bad shot. She knew it.
She'll need to spare it up. And she can force Carolyn Dorin-Ballard to strike.
You can see she got it out the left. A little too quick. Wasn't going to recover. She knew it, too. As soon as she turned around, she said, bad shot.
Covers it up. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard will need the first strike 9 spare to win this title. And let's just point out that she has not struck on lane 26 in 2 games. She did not strike on that lane the last game, and she hasn't struck yet on this lane this game. And she will have to find a way to throw 1 strike, 9 spare, to break the PWBA record of 6 titles in a season held by Lisa Wagner in '88, and to tie the all-time pro record of 7 titles in a season held by Patty Costello in '76.
Great shot. Well, it was great off her hand, but we said before, even for both players, 26 started to hook. And you can see right there, great off her hand, but jumped right there at the end. She knew it.
She's begging for a trip 4, but Dede Davidson takes her first title of the year. We'll be back with more to go. 86 and collects trophy and check from Joe Caracciolo and Gloria Roberts of Sun Lanes. Tune in again next Monday night, an hour later at 9 p.m. Eastern, as Cara Honeychurch goes for a 3-peat at the Brunswick Women's World Open from Suncoast Bowling Center in Las Vegas. For Cathy Dorin-Lizzi, I'm Jan Schmidt. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next week. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.